It's already, it's in progress. So once it's finished, I will send you the link just after, and then you can cut and it will start exactly from. But just a question, so we'll have translators, so I will talk and then they will translate in the same time, or I need to wait in the same time? Okay, yeah. Good.
Translator asked us about 10 minutes.
Yes.
Maybe we will start in time.
No worries.
What? I propose to start in time because we need in 5 minutes to start, and then 5 minutes we will wait for translator. Maybe we'll ask to introduce themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, and
okay.
I will be.
If you want me to stay, I can stay. If you want to disconnect and come back, just tell me. But I can stay, so there's no problem.
Let's stay. Be with me.
Yes. How are you? Everything is good?
Today is very busy day, really, because we arrange everything for first time for tender. It's selling for a state university. So it's a lot, really a lot of papers. So
yeah,
for
universities is always a little bit complicated, you know.
Yeah, but it's a good experience because they have now financial support, and especially till the end of the year, they would like to spend this money, and it's interesting to have this experience. For me, it's not for first time, but even years after years, everything changes, and it was like for first time. It's about 20 different documents, so
yeah, it's complicated. We always we had that since a long time, like 2019 when we sold the first module to the US Air Force, dental school of US Air Force. So you can imagine, it's just like, it's not just university, but it's like the army also. So wow, a lot of things, especially with connected devices and all those kind of things. So they are afraid of a lot of things we have, and it's different from university to another one. So here in France, for example, we have experience with universities where it's so easy, you go through, no problem. We had other universities where like the network is connected to hospitals and everything. This is where it's not a problem, but a lot of papers, a lot of tests, a lot of things, so I understand.
And on Friday, we will have ITI Congress in Ukraine with Olgida's wishes and other lectors from Ukraine. And there will be 250 people. So it's also a big challenge for us to organize everything. There will be a big demonstration zone of digital products and a lot of promo and so on. So it's
cool.
additional.
I hope that it will be a success for everyone. So
as always,
we are also preparing to Digital Indian Summer. I think this year we are not coming. One of the biggest events of Modjaw. It's this year. It's in Morocco, in Marrakesh. It's in 2 weeks or 1 week, I think. Let me just check. Yeah, it's next week. So yeah, I didn't finish my presentation. So yeah, it will be complicated, but it's okay. So it's next week.
Time flies.
Sorry?
Time flies very fast.
I think I need a day of 48 hours, not 24 hours.
I need more.
Okay. Unlimited day. Just like when you say it's finished, it's finished. So, okay. So we are in the final preparations with the team. We are expecting like more than, this is the fifth edition or the fourth one. Don't remember exactly, and it's a shame for me, but it's okay. So it's one of the biggest events. So I think that next year you need to be there, because with some Ukrainian users or some of your leads, and it's 3 days of exchange. So we have like 19 lectures during 2 days and 2.5 days. and workshops. Workshops are the most important thing, I think, because you are going to use devices, you are going to touch, you are going to play with the devices.
Yeah.
So this is why I said next year, don't forget, you need to be there. I don't know where, it's a surprise. We always tell the place like 4 months before for the organization and everything, but you need to be there.
I asked Ricardo about the demonstration passion because we would like to have Modjaw on Friday.
Mhm.
We will take on a rental in Ukraine from a dentist who already bought equipment.
Igor Gaizen, no?
No, Igor also will be with us right now. He also would like to see a presentation
Mhm.
with somebody from his clinic. And I asked Ricardo about demonstration patient because we couldn't show real patient, and it's something. It's really I wrote poor guy, but it's really a very difficult clinical case. I would like to approve because we have 15
Okay.
dentists and somebody with whole clinic.
Hi, hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So you're ready?
Always.
Thank you. I just call, where is my team? My name is Anna, and I'm main shareholders and establisher of the clinic and investor.
Okay.
So right now I'm in London. I just came from Ukraine back here because my son started to study again his schooling year here. It's too dangerous in Ukraine, and that's why I'm not with together. But as investor, it's quite a expensive device for a time of, you know, what's going on in Ukraine. So I would like to understand precisely how it would be attractive for me to invest now, and what privileges will have our clients, our doctors, and such a questions in the beginning, please, because later I can leave and you can work with doctors because it's important for them to understand everything.
Okay, cool. So what I will cover today will be like different levels. So we'll go like a quick, like a simple presentation on slides and everything. And I will go to the software to discuss about a few cases. And this is where we are going to see the different benefits and how we can. So let's say simply, the software or the device will give you three things, which are to enhance the diagnosis and the treatment plan by recording the module. You are going to increase profitability. How? Because you are going to treat patients by reducing the time of treatment. You know, when you treat patients in 5 consultations, by adding this missing link to your workflow, you can treat this patient in 4 consultations, for example, because you are going to gain time during the workflow, during treating the patient, during the treatment plan. And then the third thing, which is the most important thing and the most, let's say, the most interesting, which is the predictable outcomes. You know, patient is better than social media and everything. When you do something good to a patient, he will tell another one, he will tell another one. So if the experience of the patient is perfect during the treatment plan, you have the best vitrine, like we say in France, you know, you have the best vitrine to your clinic and to the other clinics and to the doctors. So I will go through a presentation to talk about, and then to go through the software to share some functionalities and some cases like to discuss about. So I'm more than happy to have you in here, and it's my pleasure. If it's Anna, if I can call you Anna, if you
Yeah.
So it's Wasim on my side. So
Somebody translating for a team?
Так, зараз до нас приєднається перекладач, а наш
Це буде Кирило Волинський?
так, Так, він зараз приєднується і сказав, що буде презентація спочатку по продукту, потім покаже програмне
Це дуже
забезпечення.
приємно, бо це син моєї подруги, і ми
І
разом
наші.
так, ми разом навчалися у медичній академії, я народила синів, в нас вони 1 року, і Кирило був автором моєї першої усмішки. Потім я там дещо вже в своїй клініці робила, але я також його пацієнтка, клієнтка. Just give me a moment, I call to the of my раз Томочка. Томочка, солнышко, у меня все хорошо, я сейчас как раз присоединилась.
Головне, що вже є всі запрошені, є лектор, але ще мусимо зачекати перекладача, бо так буде комфортніше, правда? Ви поки ми зараз налаштовуємо, знайдіть кнопку, де є переклад, і переключайте на український канал. Приємно бачити, що дехто цілою клінікою зібрався. Вітання.
Так, добрий вечір, ви нас чуєте?
Так.
Тут.
Добрий вечір, Ярослав.
Дякую за запрошення.
Добрий вечір.
Добрий вечір.
Добрий вечір. Там у мене слав підтримки, можу згадати. То ви такі всі вляkaті.
Клініка помилкова. Коли збирається ціла клініка, то весело, правда? Я думаю, що можемо почати. Вже з нами є Кирило Волінський, який погодився сьогодні перекладати нашу зустріч. І, чесно, не можу повірити, що ми зустрілися. Нарешті ця офіційна зустріч, це перша зустріч по Modjaw. І дякуємо усім, що погодилися нам сьогодні розказати трошки більше про цей продукт, щоб ми пірнули і зрозуміли, які особливості, які функції, які інструменти дає обладнання для клінік. З нами сьогодні особливі стоматологи. Це поки така закрита зустріч вперше, і ми запросили, зараз, хвилиночку, я просто буду ще підключати, до нас ще добігають учасники, підключили тих стоматологів, які уже цікавляться цим обладнанням. Тому з почином нас, з першої зустрічі, далі буде, так? Кирило, чи можемо починати?
Ми можемо, тільки єдине, я не бачу, чи я підключений як перекладач.
Зараз, хвилинку.
Ну, бо якщо це синхронний переклад, то я маю бути в окремому каналі.
Так, бачу, зараз підключаю вже вас. Asim, we can start.
Okay,
Let's try.
Good.
Let's try.
perfect. I was going to
Thank
start
you.
with a presentation of everyone, but I think that it will take all the time. So I will just say 2 words about myself. Federico is here also from our team. I am Wassim, Dr. Wassim Salmi. I'm the clinical manager for Modjaw company. So I'm based in Lyon. I have a team of 10 persons. So Federico is a member of the team also, and he's based in Italy. And today I will take you through a presentation about Modjaw device. So I think you already heard about this device. So today we are going to have simple answers. So I will start with a simple presentation, which means like a few slides just to go through to discuss about what this device simply and how this device can help us. And then I will take you through the software to discuss about some clinical cases to show the capabilities of the software, because let's say the software help you to record motion, but it's not just about motion. It's more than that. So Anna started about discussing about the benefits. So the direct benefits for the practitioner is to be able to treat patients in less time, but more for the patient is to have a comfortable treatment. You know, it's just like I always give an example, which is when you go to buy shoes, I buy my size. I don't buy like a standard size. It's exactly the same thing. Whatever you put inside the mouth of the patient, like a bridge, crown, bite splint, needs to be adapted to the patient in a static and a dynamic way. And this is where Modjaw will give for you and this missing link, which is dynamic. So I will start sharing my screen and I will go through the presentation. Just yes.
Please add 2 more participants when they give this request.
Okay,
Because
I'm adding everyone. It's just like once it appears, I click on add. So, okay,
Great.
perfect. So I will, but Anna, you are in mute. I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
Okay, is everybody now hearing English, or I should put somewhere translation to hear Kirill, because I for me English is okay, but is everybody now on English?
Внизу ви бачите, є на панелі кнопочка переклад. Перевод, translation, я не знаю, яка у вас версія Zoom. Подивіться, мало би бути внизу вікна. Можна переключити на український канал.
На жаль, не бачу. Okay, so for me English is okay, but I can't switch it on. I can't see this. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. So let me know if you want me to stop or to ask a question at any time, please stop me, because this is the aim today, is to have a discussion. Not here just to talk, but feel free to ask questions. As I said, what I do before is to ask questions about presenting yourselves, but I think we have a big team here today, so we are going to discuss in the end about the different cases you do and everything. So we'll start with the presentation to go further. So where is my presentation? 500 presentation opened, but I think it's this one. Yes. Can you see the slides now? Okay, that's okay. So I will just, I'm adding in the same time the one who is arriving now. So this presentation is to welcome you to the 4D dimension. When we talk about 4D dimension, we talk about what we miss today in the digital workflow. You know that when you scan, you are in a digital workflow, but when you scan, you have one image, one position. And then when you want to adjust on the patient later, a crown, a bite splint, you do it in dynamic, ask the patient to move. So this is the information we miss before doing the treatment to the patient. And this is what we will discuss today. So when we talk about Modjaw, we talk about this simple solution. Let's call it all-in-one solution that give you the possibility to have static and dynamic information. I'm answering some questions of Anna in the beginning. how this can be attractive. So you can see the experience of the patient that the patient will leave at the clinic is not the same than at any other clinics. When you have like intraoral scanner, when you have Modjaw, so the experience is more funny than what we had before. We know all the experience of the dentist. And then by having the Modjaw, you will be able to have 3 key information. The first one is to be able to have a comprehensive diagnosis of patients. You know, when the patient come for the first time to the clinic, we need to understand where we are. We need to do what we call a clinical exam. We need to see what the patient wants to do. But this clinical exam, we always miss information. And this information is about dynamic. We see it at the patient, but when the patient goes home, we don't have any information about that. So we'll be able to record, understand how the patient is functioning, okay? And starting from there, you will be able to build the perfect treatment plan to have efficient, predictable, and personalized restorative. This, exactly what I told you before. When you go to buy shoes, to buy clothes, you buy your size. It's exactly the same thing when you go to the practitioner to do a crown. When I put the crown inside the mouth or a bridge, it's not just to close the space, that is the edentulous space, but it's more to be functional. It's more to ask the patient, can you chew with, can you talk? This is what the patient will tell you. And more than that, and the most important thing is the communication. You know, communication is so important, not just in dental clinic, but everywhere. But here in dental clinic, you will have 2 things. Communication with the patient, which means that you are going to show the patient what is happening inside his mouth and to discuss what is happening inside the mouth and to explain to him where to go in the next step. And then the second communication is with the lab. You know, clinic and lab need to work hand in hand to achieve the perfect outcomes. You know, the information that you will send to the lab will be complete and optimal, not just static information, but also dynamic information to be able to adapt movement to what the patient is doing. Any questions so far? No? I don't have any reaction.
Нема.
No? Yes?
No.
Okay, thank you. So let's go to the next step, which is to talk about movements, to talk about function, to talk about what we can use at the clinics to be able to achieve that. You know, before, I always say before Modjaw, because what we do before to achieve those kind of information and to record is all those kind of stuff. Which means when you need to simulate something, simulate movements, protrusion, open, close, or something like that, you need to call all those kind of stuff. For tracings, maybe you don't use them, but in the lab side, you use our virtual articulator. So one of those things need to be used to be able to simulate movements. But once you have Modjaw at the clinic, no more. We're not anymore talking about that. We are talking about this. So we then have a name of an articulator and have a name of the patient. So this articulator is not, that doesn't have an industrial name. It has a human name. So this is what you are going to record to be able to send it later to the lab to reconstruct the patient or to do whatever you want. Let's say functional diagnosis. Let's say restorative. Can be small, full arch on teeth, on implants. It can be splints or aligners. It can be sleep apnea disorder, as it can be a TMG disorder. So with this kind of information, you can treat any kind of patients that you have at the clinic. You will have an added value to the treatments that you are going to put inside the mouth of the patient. This is a quick video just to show you the protocol, because, okay, that's perfect. You will give me a lot of information, how it works. This is a video of 1 minute just to show you how it works. So the device itself, it's what you're seeing here. You have a screen and the camera, okay? And it starts from the intraoral scanner that you are going to have from your patient. So you scan the upper, you scan the lower, as you can see, upper jaw, lower jaw. It can be an STL file, OBG, PLY, all the 3D models, open 3D models that you have in the market, you can import them inside the device, okay? And then starting from there, you will follow the instruction given by the software. The software is telling you what to do. So it will ask you to calibrate the tools, to put the trackers on the patient. So you have a mandibular tracker, fixed on a fork inside the mouth, and you have a tiara, which is a frontal tracker. So when the patient is like this, the camera will capture this patient, and you will place some extraoral points in the 3 plane of space, and then intraoral points. So you place the patient first, and then you place the models. If you remember, I showed you pictures about Facebook. So this is a digital Facebook in the same time by doing just a record. And then 5 to 10 minutes later, models are moving in the same time that the patient is moving. So in terms of communication, what you explain to the patient to do, he's going to see in the same time what's happening in the screen. So patients are, it's like they are playing. They're going to record for you. It's more clinical information, but here for the patient is more an unrevealed experience. Let's call it like this. So as I said, 5, 10, 15 minutes, you finish the recording, you can say goodbye to the real patient. Now you can work on what we call an avatar or a virtual dynamic patient, because you can replay the consultation, full dynamic virtual patient. You can take decisions, you can increase OVD, you can measure posterior determinants, you can determine a mandibular position, you can add a CBCT, you can add a face scan. This is where in the first time I told you that I are going to treat your patient in less time if needed, for example, okay? And this is the next step, because, okay, you record, that's perfect, you have 50% of the data, but then once you go to the next step, which is the lab, you will be able to share the information you recorded to be able to design. It can be a bridge, it can be a splint, it can be a full arch, it can be an orthotic, it can be whatever you want, but adapted to the movement of the patient. So what you see on the screen, this is ExoCAD. It's CAD software where you are going to import the dynamic information of Modjaw and you are going to adapt according to that. And this is the next step. We have the recording, and the next step is to be able to use the data and the CAD software. So now I will move to the second part, which is to go through the software and show you basically the capabilities on the software based on some clinical cases, okay? So far, do we have any questions? Or so I still admit here, Irina, you are
Цікаво подивитися на кейси. Так. Цікаво подивитися на кейси, кажу.
Any questions so far? Is everything
Maybe,
clear?
maybe one question. How long is the guarantee for the device?
How long is the warranty of the device? Federico, do you have this information? Yes.
That's in Europe, it's European warranty, that is 1 year.
Continue. And also the question is how do you recommend which term is for deduction for depreciation?
I'm not sure that I understand the question.
Кирилла, I mean, какой срок имеется в виду, рекомендуют они ставить на амортизацию такой девайс, сколько он теоретически будет работать?
Не понимаю даже, о чем.
Когда Кирилла, коли ми покупаємо щось, так, ми ставимо на амортизацію. Тобто
It's maybe someone
Someone can, we're waiting for translation. That's it.
Osim, do you on English channel?
The what?
Sorry, can we have the answer, the question again?
okay, do you hear me well?
Yes.
Now, yes, sure.
Okay, so when we buy something, we put it in our budget for some years for depreciation. You understand what I mean?
Le
You
leasing,
mean for the lowering of the price
Oh,
of the
For
year?
example, when we buy chair, we put it for 10 year. When
Leasing.
we buy Cerek, we put in for 5 year.
Mhm.
How long do you recommend to take it on balance for depreciation to be sure that then it will be working the term?
Mhm. If you ask me, I'll give you I think it's about the leasing, Federico. This is what we are talking about. Do you have the numbers on your side of leasing? I know.
I think you're asking for the even point, for the moment that you got the device and then you start earning out of that, you know, so in how the, in how long you should, think that you will get
Так, я
earnings out
зрозуміла.
of that.
Ми можемо пізніше
Я
запитати
зрозуміла, що нас не
продавця.
зрозуміли, але насправді клініка досить часто клініки беруть для того, щоб діагностувати та лікувати, і рідко вони рахують цю інвестицію. Але загалом в середньому поділюся, це до 3 років. Це залежить від того, яка ціна на послугу, і це можна вирахувати цю калькуляцію, враховуючи ціну на послугу, кількість пролікованих пацієнтів в місяць, і так тоді вираховується цей інвестиційний період, за який мало би окупитися обладнання. Тобто ту калькуляцію можна так зробити індивідуально, вже в залежності від того, яку ціну поставити на діагностику.
Ну, це
Тут
також інше питання, це вже розрахування собівартості, так? І сроку
Експлуатації,
сроку окупаємості. Але питання було
обладнання це до 3 років. Так, деякі є швидше.
Окей, я зрозуміла, дякую.
All good?
Yes.
So I think I didn't understand the question, but I thought that we talk about leasing, but it's more about the learning curve, I think, or starting from when you are going to earn money from the device. This is what you are telling me, Federico. I think the question is about that. Is that the question, Irina? No, okay.
Ну, не зовсім. Я пояснила, але ми вже потім запитаємо у продавця. Ну, тоді ми можемо продовжувати, щоб не тримати людей. So, we can continue.
Okay. So I don't know. I don't have a translation on my side. I don't know if it's something on Zoom, if I'm supposed to see translation on English or no, but I don't have it on my side. So this is why I was waiting. I don't know if it's something that's supposed to happen on Zoom. It's not happening. Okay, so let's continue now.
Зрозуміла.
I will continue now. I will continue on the second part, which is to go to the platform itself.
Пропонуємо ознайомитися зараз з кейсами, подивитися далі прилад в дії і вже в кінці перейти до запитань. Можливо, так, щоб ми динамічніше рухалися, якщо всі погоджуються. Просимо кейси.
I don't know if I will wait.
I think you can move on, Wasim.
I can move on?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So I was waiting that it is translation. I'm sorry, it's the first time that I do with translation everything, so sorry if things are not going in the right way. So I will move to the second part, as I said, to the software, to share some cases and also some capabilities of the software. And this is what will make a little bit sense for all of us. So as I said, there is 2 parts. The first one is to record patients, which is the recording itself. If we ask about the learning curve, it takes, let's say, in 1 month, if you want, you can go to the next step. Let's say if you record patients, In 1 month, it's done. So here I will share with you the platform. So this is the platform of TWIM, which means this is where you are going to have patients and then you can import them. As I told you before, you will start by importing upper and lower jaw. This is a simple workflow, which means patient is here. You are going to record the movement. You scan the patient upper, lower, and then starting from there, you'll be able to, as you can see in here, this is a list of movements that were recorded on this patient. So as you can see, those movements, there is no device now that can give you a combination of those 3D models and movements in the same time, as with the easy way. So here inside the software, if you take a look on the right side, you have 3 different levels of functionalities, 3 different modules. Access. Access is a simple module for simple dentists who just want to record and then basic analysis and then share with the lab. So this module is a basic module for a simple use of the module. So what you have as the functionalities are more transparency and this functionality of contact. So I will admit in the same time path. So for example, here on this patient, if we discuss about contacts, you can see contacts in a static way, but more than that, you will be able to see in a dynamic way when you replay the movements. So here, to give you an answer, Anna, for example, what this can give you as a benefit, it's the articulating paper that doctors are using every day. We use articulating papers to see contacts and colors and everything. Here, it's inside an image, and I can zoom and explain to the patient what is not working. So I know that the experience is not going to be the same using articulating paper. So this contact, you can apply it on the upper, on the lower, as you can apply it in the two arches, upper and lower, and have this view in the same time to see the contact. So in terms of explanation to the patient, there is no simple than that. So this is for the basic functionalities. And then if we go further, practitioners who want to go further in the diagnosis. And when we say further, means the movement, you can go to tracings. You know that when we move, we have movements of the condyles. Right condyle, left condyle, anterior point. Here, 1 square is 1 millimeter. Okay, real life is this. But with Modjaw, we like to zoom to be able to see in detail what's happening. So the 3 graphs we are in here are the right condyle, sagittal condyle, anterior point. In terms of information combined to the 3D models, it's like a treasure for the practitioners who are doing a lot of analysis, for example, according to the tracings, okay? And then if we go here, you have also the articulator information. I don't know if we have labs now between us here on the team. In the laboratory side, when you send information to put inside articulator, what are the values that the lab will put inside an articulator? Those values are average values. I'm sure that a lot of labs are using the same numbers for all the patients. Here, you don't use the same numbers. You will get numbers for each patient. You will be able to have the condylar slopes and the Binet angles of the patient itself. So here, if I go to condylar slopes, I just click on left and right, and you have 51 and 56 degrees, 56 degrees. So you can communicate real values to the lab. It's not anymore an average. As I told you before about the close, this is a standard, this is a personalized information of the patient. And then the third module is aesthetic. Aesthetic is more when you import like a face scan, when you import like a picture, and also to use OVD shift. But to be able to explain that simply, I will choose another case. So let's go to this case, for example. So I told you before that you can import upper and lower initials, but you can add additional model, which means like when you do WhatsApp, before you try it at the clinic, you can try it in a digital patient. So this is initial situation. And this is the WhatsApp that the lab sent to me. And I can check the contact, for example, on this WhatsApp before I put the contact, before I put this WhatsApp inside the mouth of the patient. And I can see the contacts that I have here, no contacts in here. So you can ask the lab to do adjustments before you go to the clinic. So you can see in the workflow how many chair time you can gain. You don't call the patient to do WhatsApp directly. You will adjust in digital, and then you'll be able to put the correct project inside the mouth of the patient. And you can see the differences, for example. So when you import the WhatsApp, you can show to the patient what are the different modifications that you are going to put on this patient to have the perfect smile according to the picture, according to the face scan if you want. So you can import face scans also, or pictures. So in the aesthetic module, once you import the face scan, you will be able also to have the proportion of the face. So here you can see upper jaw, top level, medium, and lower level. So this is indications about if you need to increase OVD or no. So all those information can be imported in the same platform to be able to treat the patient in a digital way. No more need to have the patient for several consultations at the clinic to be able to treat this patient, okay? So here I know I will present this to the patient, for example. I will show him what is the project that I will put inside the mouth. He will confirm, I adjust the contact, and then we go to the next step, which is the clinic, for example. So here you take the software, like a software to record motion, to a second level, which is to be able to try WhatsApps or treatments inside the platform before you go to the next step, okay? More than that, let's say for this patient, I added this to be able to increase OVD, to change the position of the lower jaw. You know, to change the position of the lower jaw, we have a lot of schools, a lot of concepts, a lot of things that exist at the clinics. There are clinics who are doing clinically the increase using like a jig, a cois, V-manual, wax, wherever you want. And there are other clinics, they send to the lab, they put inside an articulator and they increase. So in the two clinics, we lose information. And how I can confirm that we lose information, this is why always we adjust treatments like this when we put them inside the mouth of the patient, because we lose information during those steps. But for this patient, if I want to increase OVD, for example, according to the movement that the patient gave to me, I will just play here, frame by frame. You see here, you know, when you record a module, in 1 second of recording, you have 120 images, equal 120 mandibular position, equal 120 wax, if you want, equal 120 scans. So here in 1 second of recording. And each scan that you record in here, you'll be able to export it as an image and send it to the lab. This is to answer the first question of Anna. What are the benefits? So I will talk clinic a little bit. If you have a patient, you recorded everything on the patient and you need to change the position of the lower jaw, as a dentist, you need to call the patient to the clinic for the second time. And then to be able to put a jig or cois or wherever you want to increase this position. And then you send the position to the lab. Otherwise, you take the risk, you send everything to the lab, and we cross fingers to have the treatment in the correct position. Sometimes it works, sometimes the patient adapts, but sometimes it's not adapted. You need to send the second bite for the lab. So you lose time, you lose chair time, and you use lab time. Here, you don't lose that. You are doing behind the screen. I am doing clinically, digitally, according to the movement given by the patient. And now it's not like increasing just like this. You can respect all the concepts that you have in the literature. What you can use here is this functionality of CAD view. So I can put the CAD view between the incisors, for example. Do you see the CAD view in here? I can zoom and I can check how much space I created between the upper and the lower. So here I can measure the distances, the overjet, the overbites, for example. Now I can also take my pen and then design a little bit here to say, if I will add a little bit of veneer here, I will need to close more to be able to have contacts anterior or to avoid contacts. You are doing that without having the patients with you or based on something on pictures. No, you are doing it based on 3D models of the patient. Just like you put the CAD view inside the model of the patient and you check that. And more than that, if you want to see posteriorly, because you are going to do, because you need to create like 2 millimeters distance between the upper and the lower, you can check between the surfaces. So here 1.66 millimeters I have like in the distal part of the first molar. So I know, I see exactly what I will put the lower jaw, and I just need to click on export to export this static position. But Modjaw offers to you something which is, so this functionality, which is OVD shift. This, we have a patent for this functionality. There is just Modjaw who can do that. I think I have a question. Sorry for interrupting you, but you share your screen at the starting page of programs interface, or there is a problem. Okay. Federico, do you see my screen or?
On my side, I still see good. What
So
I
you-
see
you
is
still-
connected
still-
with what you say.
So now
my
I'm
side.
moving the models. Is it moving?
I see.
Okay.
Yes,
So
I see
Irina,
1.66. Yes.
so Irina, Anna, can you confirm to me, because I have here RS. Who is he? So just
Так, так,
Ruslan.
я все
Ruslan.
бачу на екрані.
Yes, I can see also all movement, what you do.
Okay, so Ruslan is telling me that I'm just sharing the starting page of a program. No.
Maybe you can try to rejoin the Zoom, because I think it's on that side.
Yeah, Ruslan, can you try to come back, just to disconnect and come back to see if it will solve the problem? Otherwise, I will just stop sharing and redo the sharing for the second time. And sorry for the yes, Ruslan is not anymore here, so we will wait a little bit for him. I'll just wait a few seconds to Ruslan.
Руслан,
come back.
підтвердь, будь ласка, чи все добре?
I will continue. So as I said, here, when you change the position of the lower jaw, you will know where you are going to put the lower jaw. There is no more guessing. Because before we guess a lot, we think that, and as I said, once you select this position, this is the functionality where I wanted to talk. OVD shift, occlusal vertical dimension shift. This functionality, there is just Modjaw who can do it. We have a patent for this functionality, which means like, if I click on current position, OVD, I confirm the software will work in my place, and it will create a new consultation for me without doing a second consultation for the patient. So beneficial for everyone. You don't lose chair time, and you don't have to bring back the patient to the clinic. So you are saving a lot of time on your side, and also keeping the patient comfortable, like in his treatment plan. And so once you click there, the software will do the work, and all the movement you recorded before, it will start from this position now. If I click on right lateral protrusion, it will start from here by keeping exactly the same movements that I had for my patient. So now I will give to the lab two things: the therapeutic position or the starting position to treat this patient, and more than that, I will give him the movements to adapt the design according to that. So this is two gold information to be able to have the most predictable outcomes at your clinic. We say it's predictable, means that precise treatments in the end without any redo, without any misfit, any shippings, any breakage, any implant loss. So for this, I will go to, because I showed you cases with teeth, but let's go for something interesting. I told you also that we can import a CBCT. So the platform, there is no limit. You can add till 10 models inside the platform, additional CBCT face scan and pictures. And I want to discuss with you this case. So tag, I have an, I do not, and how we can translate. So there is a message, Irina, in the discussion. If you can just check and let me know. It's written in Ukrainian. So can you please, Irina, can you translate for me if it's a question or? Are you here, Irina?
Yes, I'm here, and we have a question if it could be imported WhatsApp and then check in virtual software according to movement of patient.
So I just translated the questions. I had a tool that's cool. Then you can import WhatsApp and run it virtual according. Yes, exactly. I don't know how to spell your name, but yes, you can import WhatsApps, and this is what I will show you just here on this case. So stay with me, okay? The doctor talks about, yes, can you import the WhatsApp data in the software and check if it's, yes, you can do that. So I will just do that. Yes. Absolutely, 200%. And this is the discussion now. So I will just hide this. This is the CBCT. It's not a bigger CBCT, but tag. You can see the discussion. Thanks. You're welcome. Thank you for your question. So here, let's talk about this patient. So what I do for the, I always ask the practitioners that I have in front of me to tell me what can be the workflow for this patient. I think we are more than 30, 37, 39 participants. I don't know if you have a volunteer to discuss a little bit, but it's okay. So for this patient, you can see the upper jaw, you still have 3 teeth in here. And then in the lower jaw, you still have some teeth anteriorly and 1 molar. I don't know if it's first, second, but it's the first molar. So the treatment plan, this project, or this patient, I call it project, but I'm sorry for that, but this patient was done in a collaboration with University of Frankfurt. So we discussed, and Federico, who is here, was part of the team. So there were 3 teams. Federico from Italy, who is the lab and collect all the data. I went from Lyon to Frankfurt to record the module, and we had a team at the university for the surgery and the next steps. So we recorded this patient, and then it was a challenge to treat this patient full digital in 2 consultations. What I mean is to record the data, to collect all the data in 1 step, and the second step is to do the surgery, guided surgery with the bridge already designed and milled and everything. Immediate loading. So for this case, because of the age, she had 82 years old, which means like she's a little bit old with a lot of medications. So the surgery team decided to go for an all-in-4, I think, or all-in-6 on the upper jaw. And for the lower jaw, they decided to keep the teeth anteriorly, extract the molar, and then do a removable. So we need to keep those teeth anteriorly. This is challenging because when you increase OVD for this patient, I will show you something. I will play 1 movement and you will see. So look at the open close movement. Yeah, it goes in 1 side. Look at this. Tag, tag. So once I recorded this movement, I said, wait. There is something. So clinically, we don't have any pain, any TMG. So it was like a resorption of the condyle, and we had a limited, if we look to the tracing, the limited amplitude of the right condyle according to the left one. You see the left, it goes so far. The left, it goes till 90 millimeters of movement, of amplitude. The right one is half of it. So this is what explains the deviation. And because it's reproducible without any pain, means that you're not going to change this for this patient, especially at this age, okay? 82 years old. So, okay, how we are going to the next steps. So we discussed with Federico, with the team, we need to increase OVD, everything. We need to change the position of the lower jaw. And he said, okay, we had a discussion with Federico, and then Federico sent me WhatsApp. This is to answer the question of the one who asked me, can we import the WhatsApps? Yes. So here on this patient, Federico did a virtual extraction of those teeth, and then he imported a WhatsApp. He said, Wasim, this is a first proposition, a draft, let's say a draft. And let me know what you think about it. So here I was playing, I'm saying I was playing because yes, it's a PlayStation. I was frame by frame here, and I saw something. If I close slowly, look at this, because we are going to keep those teeth in here. So if you don't have a Modjaw, you need to try the WhatsApp in the clinic side. And this is what you are going to have at the clinic if you try it the first time. Look at this. The crossbite that you have in one side, because the patient is not opening straight, he's opening in one side. So this is what I told Federico, it's not going to work like this. But I took this because Federico did the design anteriorly according to the picture, smile line and everything. So let's see, the incisal teeth are in the correct position. I said, okay, let's take this like a reference and then correct all those teeth to be able to be in occlusion. So I checked two things. Let's be dentist in here. So I went to the tracings to check the position of the condyles. You know, when you increase OVD, the condyles need to be in a rotation. So if you check like the red points are approximately in the same position. And then I used cat view, if you remember. I put the cat view in the incisals and I check the overjet and overbite. I try to be in a normal overjet overbite between 2 to 4 millimeters. You can see 2.9 and 3.7 overjet overbite. And I said, okay, because we are going to keep the teeth in the lower jaw. So what I did, I just did that. Tack, this is my increase of OVD. This is the new position that I will set to Federico to design, to correct the design and to design the removable on the lower jaw. Okay? So then OVD shift, current position, and then Federico corrected the design. Thank you, Federico, for the work. That's a good thing. So he corrected the design, did everything in digital. I was in Lyon, he was in Italy, patient was at home. So we imported the upper and he designed the lower jaw also. So let me show you the next steps. All this was done behind the platform. So you can see the benefits on the clinic side, so you can correct things and you can see the benefits on the patient side. This patient is not coming several times and hide everything. Then I will go to the tag. You remember this position is the position I just stopped in the frame when I tried the first WhatsApp. And now Federico corrected the WhatsApp of the upper. He sent me this. Now it's better. I will be in occlusion on this side, but he also sent me the WhatsApp of the lower jaw. So you can see here the WhatsApp of the lower jaw, and you can replay all the movements you want to be able to check, because the patient will still open like this. You're not going to change how the condyles are moving. You're going to change the guidance and everything. But when the patient is coming closing exactly like this, it will be this position. So the day of the surgery at Frankfurt, so Federico designed everything. There are the surgery guides, and this works up also according to the guides and everything. Send everything to Frankfurt. But Frankfurt, they were a little bit, they said, yeah, we did everything in digital. I'm not sure that it's going to work. So Federico find a solution. He just designed a splint, like to cover those teeth, but to reproduce the design of the WhatsApp. So they tried the splint before they start the surgery, and it was exactly in the position determined in here. So then they looked to each other, they started the surgery, but the bridge in the end, the patient closed in one position. So this is one patient treated in 2 consultations. First one, collect the data. Second one is to put something inside the mouth. Better than that, don't lose time after doing the delivery. No adjustments, no unsatisfaction of the patient. no discomfort position of the bridges. Everything was there. So there is no problem like the day of the delivery and medium term and long term. Okay, makes sense till now? Does this answer the question on the WhatsApp side? The one who asked about the WhatsApp. You can write in the discussion if it's tech. I know how to spell your name, but so those are the patients I want to show. So what you see in the background is just like a split screen. I will finish with it, and then I will show presentation of a real case, okay? From the beginning to the end, the full workflow. I only want to have questions. So novo message, yes, thank you. Okay, you're welcome. So those are like basic capabilities, but you have more and more. The simple things that you can get on the device are the screen recording picture, but also that you can split the screen, choose the same patient after and before, or another patient, and show to the patient or do presentation or wherever you want. This is just for communication and to be able to check patients before and after in the same consultation, or two different patients to be able to explain to the practitioner how things are happening. You can replay all the movement in the same time or change movements or whatever we want. So now I will go to the last part, which is to share with you a case, a real one. It was published a few months ago. So I'm just trying to find the presentation. Yes, that's it. Tech. Good. Yeah. Tech. Stop that. You see my screen or no? Not sure. Not yet.
No, not really.
No.
Okay. Tech. What about now?
Зараз
yes.
бачимо.
Good. So those are just a few articles that we can share later, but the ones that I'm going to talk about will be this one. So this is a real case, treated the same way that we treated before, talking in digital and everything you will see. So if we talk to the different clinics, those are the different challenges for rehabilitations. It can be a big bridge on one side, a full arch, or full arch upper and lower. You know, to find the mandibular position, increase, decrease, to respect the occlusal plan according to Spee and Wilson curve, and also to have an effective occlusal anatomy. When we talk about occlusal anatomy, I will talk a lot about posterior teeth, about molars. You know, when you receive the perfect molar with the perfect cusps and put it inside the mouth, you don't want to take a burr and take all the cusps out of this design. So I want to keep exactly this. So those are the challenges, and this is how we can solve those different challenges. So we can see this case. You see the initial situation, upper and lower jaw, like a parodontal things, and we need to extract everything to go from full arch upper and lower jaw. Okay, this is what was decided with Dr. Maxime Gisson and with the patient also. So the patient came for aesthetic reason, to be able to smile more and also to be able to eat. As you can see, it doesn't have any molars in two sides, upper and lower. But the surprise, and it's always what I say, like having teeth doesn't mean that we can function, and does not having teeth doesn't mean that we cannot function. So for this patient, when I see that, I would say, we need to build everything, we need to redo, and we need to adapt, and you will see surprises like in that. So the workflow, as I think in all the clinics, for big rehabilitation or small, you can go for radiography. It can be CBCT as it can be a panoramics, and then Modjaw. So here we had intraoral scanner and Modjaw occlusion, and then aesthetic evaluation. So how to proceed? If you can just see the workflow, you have build your digital twin, and then aesthetic, functional, prosthetic planning, surgical planning. So the patient is in the first step and in the last step, which is the surgery. So we don't see the patient in the middle. We collect all the data, pictures, scans, Modjaw, CBCT, face scan if we need. And then we say goodbye to the patient. I give you, let's say, an appointment in 1 month and a half to do the surgery and to have the bridge inside the mouth. And then this is how we work in a digital way. So let's start. Build your digital dynamic twin. The patient, the day he came to the clinic, he was like that. And then when he said goodbye, we keep a duplicata. I don't know if you get a copy of the patient at the clinic. I don't need anymore the real patient. So you can see how you can manage the time also, how you can gain time. So duplicate your patient. It's exactly what I said. And then we go to the next step. According to the pictures, you'll be able to do what we call aesthetic evaluation. What you see in front of you is Smile Cloud. So it's a platform where you put pictures, and according to the pictures and different parameters you put inside, you can choose a library that you can show to the patient. Just like in a few minutes, you can tell him that this will be the smile like in the end. And then starting from there, you can export the library. So this is a picture before and after, and then you can export the library to take it to the design later. But then we go to the next step, which is the functional evaluation. Functional evaluation, if you don't have Modjaw, you cannot do it. It's just like you do aesthetic, you send to the lab and you cross fingers that everything is not going to break or to ship or whatever, or to have shippings or something like that. But if you do functional evaluation, you know that you will start from a green point. You know that the starting point is perfect. So we ask ourselves two questions: mandibular position and the function of the patient. So the mandibular position, if you need to increase or not, we are not going to go inside concepts and everything. By doing a simple recording of an open-close movement, of a CR recording, you will be able to determine if the occlusion is stable, which means what the patient is closing in ICP and when you manipulate in centriculation or using a jig is the same by recording like 40 seconds of a movement and the position of the TMG also. So preserve the mandibular position. And then this is the most interesting. As I said, patient doesn't have any molars, but when we gave him a chewing gum, the patient starts to chew like he had all the teeth. I can see maybe better than me or better than Federico, I think. So he was chewing perfectly. The teeth still guide the movement, and we had, as you can see, teeth still guiding, and we have a sharp and symmetric chewing pattern. You can see, start from a point, return to the point, and we can see a good angle, and the patient is giving me the perfect chewing movement. So we preserve this to be able to go to the next step. So now, this is the magic. All the information recorded and analyzed, sent to the lab. And I think, yeah, Federico Menes, it's also you. Okay, that's cool. So we start with the prosthesis, virtual extraction, and design the bridge to the full arch, upper and lower jaw. And then once you have the bridge in a static way, you adapt in dynamics. So we will see here, we play all the movements, replay to adjust the guidance. All what you are going to do at the chair later, the lab is doing it for you. You don't need any more to do it. Once you have the bridge, you go to the next step to secure the implants according to the bridge you are going to do. So you have you secured prosthesis, now you secure implants. And then this is interesting also because Federico, when he was playing inside Exocad, this is the thing. He puts teeth and then play with the movement to see where the contact is going to be according to the movement recorded before. So this is what you will do during delivery. When you give the project inside the mouth of the patient, now you are going to do it. I will let Federico do it. Please adjust the contacts in the correct way. And then, this is the surgery, it's not the subject, but look at this. The day of the surgery, when you put the project inside the mouth as the patient to close, clack, it goes in one position without any hesitation. You know, when you extract all the teeth, the only thing that the patient will keep is the muscle movement, clack, till he finds a position. And this position is to be stable. Look at this. 3, 2, 1, close, clack, it goes in one position. And more important, when you go to the dynamic, there is no adjustments. Look at this. The right, the left plateau protrusion, the chewing movement, the tap, tap, tap. Look at the final one. When you ask the patient to tap, tap, tap several times, it's one position. So this is how you can secure the surface. Look at this. One position. Occlusal surface will be there. Guidance will be there. So you will ensure the longevity of the bridge, and more than that, the longevity of the implants. And the patient will be functional also. So for this patient, no burr adjustments, and look at the results. The contacts were there. The digital, between the digital and the virtual, there is no loss of information. It's not a miracle, but it's according to the protocol we did. No loss of information. Static is good, but dynamic is more important. This is what Modjaw will give to you. And this is how you can enhance the diagnosis and treatment planning, enhance clinical outcomes. As you can see in here, the clinical outcomes is predictable. What Federico did and adjusted is exactly what I find at the clinic. And then we finish with the most things that we discuss about the profitability. If this patient, you treat it in 2 consultations without adjustments and without breakage, without shippings, without implant loss, profitability is exactly what it needs to be. But if this patient came back in 1 month, and then you need to adjust, you need to redo the bridge for free, you need to explain to the patient why the bridge was you have breakage or something like that, this is where you start losing profitability. So by doing those predictable clinical outcomes, you are going to increase profitability by decreasing the time of treating the patient. Simple cases to complicated cases, by simplifying the time to understand patients. So most important thing, happy patients. This is the most important thing. Happy patients and long time treatments inside the mouth of the patient. Functional and aesthetic. I always start with functional, because aesthetic, I know you can do it with a picture, but functional, it's harder. It's like the beauty and the beast. So the beauty is the aesthetic, but the beast is functional. But now it's not anymore a beast with Modjaw. So this is how you can go to this step. So those are the things that I wanted to share with you. I don't know if you have questions. I prefer if we have questions. We are more than 40, I think, 41 participants. So please feel free to ask questions.
Кирило, а як буде краще, щоб я говорив українською, чи я можу англійською запитати? Як ти думаєш?
Краще, щоб ми всі розуміли ваше запитання, на мою думку.
краще.
А давай так спробуємо. А як у першій версії, та яка є, там є функціонал, те, що ми можемо, що будуть sagітально-суставний, угол Беннета, ці всі параметри, котрі ми будемо передавати до лабораторії. Чи це вже йде у другій версії продукту? Чи у другій версії ми там...
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear,
Yeah.
but yeah, do we have a translator here to?
We don't have any translations.
For me, yeah, I don't know how it's functioning, but I don't have a translation here. So this is why.
I will ask in English. I will translate its
Yes,
question
please. Yes,
about
please.
functionality and about the version of access. What will receive in this version?
I have a question about individual
Articular
movement,
parameter.
and or movement of patient.
individual settings after the
Individual condylar
after
setting.
the examination of our patient. When we do the examination, we got individual exams, like what we transfer to the lab. I have a question. In the second stage, like the second access of your product, it is we have them, or in the first one, we have this prepared exams, or we need to do to buy the second one.
And you have the sagittal condylar movements track and the Binet angle in the new first version of the, of course. Yeah, the individual parameters of the patients, you can have them automatically once you record the movement of protrusion, right and left lateral protrusion. You will have the Binet angles and the condylar slopes, if this is the question. But I just want to tell you that sometimes in the lab side, for some patients, like the patient I showed you, we didn't use an articulator. I didn't use condylar slopes and Binet angles. It's not always the way to do. We use the XML, which is the movement of the patient. Because after recording, I saw that the movement of the patient is correct to use it. I have three things, green, orange, and red. When I see that the functional envelope is still there, I don't need the condylar slopes and Binet angles. I will use my human articulator, which is the movement of the patient, and not a mechanic articulator. Does this answer the question? Which means, I just mean that with Modjaw, you open the door, not just to share condylar slopes and Binet angles. You can share the movement also, without using articulator. The movement of the patient is the best articulator that you can have everywhere. It's a human articulator. It's not a name or numbers. Does this answer the question? Or no?
Дякую.
Yes? Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So I have a question here. Can we find CR with Modjaw and how? Who asked the question? Can you talk? Can you activate your mic? It's better by talking. But hi, I can see Igor. Dr. Gaizan is here. Hi. Okay, so I will answer. And activating the mic, no worries for that. So can we find CR? Yes. How? Yes, also. So I will show you. So when we talk about CR, I think we will stay here till 10 p.m. But I think that everyone have something to do, and I'm not going to stay till 10 p.m. So CR is a big discussion, okay? Centriculation, 29 definitions and everything. But for me, the simple definition is to be able to find the small amplitude of opening when you guide your patient or use a jig or use whatever you want to find the first contact on the teeth and the rotation of the condyles of the patient. And to explain this easily, I will just need to share the screen for the second time on this case. Not this case, but I will share another case. But the one who asked me the question about CR, what concept you use? I will ask you a question. What concept you use for the CR? Face. What do you mean by face? Face. Maybe I didn't understand face. Face. Face philosophy, or I'm just waiting the answer, but yeah, it's okay. I will continue. So here on this patient, for example, the CR, the centriculation, the myth, was recorded using a concept of a beam manual manipulation. So face philosophy. Okay, this is, you are an ortho. So you are an ortho. You are using exactly the same. So Alberto Canabez and Domingo Martin, they guide the patient to have a small amplitude of opening, a reproducible small amplitude of opening. But the problem clinically without Modjaw is to find this first contact. We always ask the patient, where do you feel the first contact? But let me show you on this patient. Before it was a guess. I do it, and then I feel that I am reproducible. it's not anymore the case. Modjaw can show you when you are reproducible. So that answers the question that it will help you to find CR. So let's talk about this patient. So here we started guiding the patient, and then just look at this graph, okay? The interincisal point in a frontal plane. Look at this. I started guiding. I didn't feel that I was reproducible, but then after a few seconds, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I felt that I was reproducible, but I confirm in the same time in this graph. And then I just use the software like this. This is what's amazing in here. You can crop. And this is your small area that you can call CR if you want. You can check the condyles where are in the 3 plane of space, and you can see that the condyles are not moving anymore. They are doing a rotation. And more than that, by applying the contacts, if you remember, if I apply the contacts in here, I will be able to see where the first contact is going to be. Do you see that? First contact in here. Do you see on the premolar? This is the CR, and this is the first contact in CR position. So for this case, if you are an ortho, we can have a discussion of 2 hours. Are you going to do ortho from ICP, or you are going to do ortho from this position? You know, it's a class 2-2. If you do ortho from this position, bring all the upper incisors to the vestibular part, the lower to the vestibular part, you will be in overjet and overbite. It will be a class 2. Not a class 2-2, but it will be class 2. You will have a big overjet between the upper and the lower because of this distance that you are going to create. But for this patient, you can think digitally, which means inside Modjaw, you can do digital calibration, which means starting from this position. I know it's a lot of things, but this is your first contact. Now you can close image by image and see if you are going to do a calibration where the next contact is going to be. Do you see that? So if you take off all those contacts, other contacts are going to be here, 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 here. You are closing according to what FACE is calling the arc of closure. Where is my arc of closure? I need to move it somewhere. And that. Yes. Do you see the graph here? This is the arc of closure. You are closing according to CR position where you have the first contact to see where are. This is what you do maybe now if you don't have a Modjaw using articulator. You find this position of first contact, you put inside articulator, and then you check where are the other contacts to see if you will equilibrate or not. So when you have the Modjaw, you can close till the position you want, export this position, do an ortho setup to check if you want to calibrate before or do it after. This is my question for the CR. Does this give a question for you? Yeah, he says yes. Good. Any other questions?
And we got one question.
Of course.
It will take 1 minute for you. What about the price of this diagnostic in your clinic? It's very in your clinic.
What is the price of Modjaw, you mean?
What is the price of the diagnostic in your clinic?
Okay, good. This is a good question. You know, this is what we call ROE, return of investment. So, you know, everything we... So I will ask you, do you pay the intraoral scanners today when you do intraoral scanners for the patient? Yes, no, no?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
So, you know, Modjaw today is included inside a workflow, which means that the price, so if you ask me like this, I will say 250 euros, for example. It's included inside a whole workflow from the beginning for a big bridge or something like that. And let's say that there is, at the clinic of Maxim, for example, we always do the Modjaw like a step. It's always there. And the patient pays in the end for the full workflow. But if you go to other clinics here in France, the price starts from 250 euros to 700 euros for practitioners who are doing just diagnosis. You know, there is clinics who are doing just bruxism and everything. So Modjaw is a step. So they do it like for 700 euros. In Switzerland, it's more expensive. It's 1,200 euros. But it's a step that the patient will pay during like the workflow. So it starts from 250. This is the cheapest. This is what we use here. To 700 to 1,200 patients and 200 euros patients. I'm sorry. So I have a question. If patients have dysfunction in movements and muscles, we need to start from some therapeutic position with splint. Train patient to do correct movements, relax muscle, for example. And after we use some position, this new schema of movements of lower jaw for wax up, etc. Is this correct? Yes. So what you can do for dysfunctional patients, you know, the first step is always so important. You say a therapeutic position. How you define the therapeutic position of those patients? You need to do functional recording. I'm sorry. If you don't have a functional recording, you cannot do a therapeutic position. You cannot find a therapeutic position. The definition of therapeutic position is, there's a lot of concepts. There is two schools. There is practitioners who say it's centriculation. There are the others. No, it's not centric. It's more complicated than centriculation. It's sometimes what we call physiologic position. You know, when I close, I have what we call habitual position. But to build something new with patient dysfunctional, you need a physiologic position. So for example, you can use a tense to relax the muscle and then combine the tense with the Modjaw to have the therapeutic position. And then after having the splint, because this position, you will export it from Modjaw, like I showed you before. Stop in one frame, export, do bite splint, and then redo the Modjaw after doing the bite splint, because the bite splint will relax the muscle. And then, as you said, it will design a new schema, a new functional envelope. It's not a new, but you will correct a little bit what was dysfunctional. The patient keep the same condyles, the same muscle, the same teeth. You just gave him a little bit of liberty to be able to move freely. So after the bite splint, you will record the movement, like of using Modjaw. So sometimes we record with bite splint, without bite splint. Everything is possible with this, and you can see a lot of things. How to choose the first therapeutic position for splint phase with wrong type of movements. Yeah, this is good. How to choose the first therapeutic position. I said we will finish at 10, but so it depends on cases where you don't have a TMG disorder and cases where you have a TMG disorder. So if you have a TMG disorder, it depends. If patients have pain, noise, no, it's okay. Don't be sorry. This is cool. I can stay here till 11 p.m. if you want. So as I said, you have two things. Patients with clinical symptoms and patients without clinical symptoms. What I'm saying with clinical symptoms, with joint problem, click, or let's say noise. And then when you record the initial recording, you know, the tracing in a normal patient have symptoms, yes. So the initial recording will give you where you will find the position, which means, like, you know, if you have a click, for example, if you have like a joint problem, a disc dislocation, the condyle is outside of the disc, you open, click, the condyle will find the disc. And inside the tracing, you will follow and find exactly when the condyle finds the disc. And you can stop it on this frame, and starting from this frame, you export the upper and lower jaw to do the first bite splint, okay? What is good in here is if this bite splint after 1 week, it's not working, for example, you can choose in the same recording that you did before, another bite splint, okay? And this is how you are going. So the success of bite splints today is 100% of what we did. All the patients where we did bite splint, it's put it inside the mouth, no adjustments, 2 weeks after the patient is feeling better. It's not me who is saying, but more than say 10 practitioners with whom we are doing like bite splints and everything, especially with joint problem. Once you have a joint problems means that the condyle is hidden somewhere. By increasing OVD correctly, you will decompressioner. I don't know how to say it, Federico.
Uncompress.
Yeah, uncompress.
Release the pressure.
Yes. But as I said, when you have a click, you will see that the movement of the condyle is moving normally, and then in one step, click, click, he's doing like a stair. And in this stair, you will know that this is where the condyle is going on the joint, and this is what you are going to avoid. You stop there and you export the position. Go, Federico.
And consider as well that in this research of therapeutical position, you can import the CBCT. So then you will be able to put together, the axiography, so you see where, when the click, where the disc is taken back, and as well you see with the condyle, and you can get your cut view, and you can measure, all around and understand if you move the mandible in that position, how will be the position of the condyle in the fossa.
So just to say what you said, but with images. So the recording can be done with intraoral scanners, but as Federico said, you can import this. You see, this is a real CT scan of the patient. This is a big field, which means it's not an avatar. This is the real condyles of the patient. And Federico was talking about cut view. Do you remember the cut view I showed you before? You can put it now here on the condyles. So according to the distance you want to create on the condyles, you can stop wherever you want here. You can go frame by frame during the movement, during open close, during your CR manipulation. Stop it, and each image you want to stop, and then click on export, static export, you export the therapeutic position if you want. So the CBCT will give you this, but if you don't have a CBCT, the tracing, as I told you. So the tracing in a normal patient without symptoms, it's continuous, reproducible. But once you start having a joint problem, so for me, a joint problem is when you have symptoms, click or a noise, and this is where you are going to find in the tracing the position where the condyle is going outside of the disc, and then you click there, you find the position of the lower jaw, and this is your therapeutic position for your first bite splint that you are going to do on the patient. Make sense? Does this answer the question? No. Yes.
Yes, sure. Thanks for your.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I don't know who asked the last question, but I'm so interested to understand. So for me, how the one who asked the question about the CR and everything, how you do it today, if you can, do you make occlusion correction of splint designed with Modjaw? No. This is an easy answer. No. Because when you do splints, you try to adapt the patient. So I will share my screen. I didn't show all the patients, but yeah, that's good. When you have questions, you can show patients. So this case, this is a patient who brooks a lot and start to have like a messal pain. So he's bruxing, closing a lot, and you will see it. He is a dentist, stressed all the time. And this is the patient. So it was 2 years ago, I met this practitioner, and he said, Wasim, you tell me that when you do bite splints with Modjaw, you can keep exactly my movement to avoid to brooks and everything. I said, yes. And he said, how you can prove to me that? I said, okay, I will try to prove it. So I recorded this patient the day before, recorded all the movements, and then I increased the OVD inside the Modjaw, and then exported all the movement to ExoCAD, asked the lab that was not Federico, it was Roseline. She designed a bite splint adapted to the movement that I recorded on my patients before. The day after, produced the splint, printed the splint that I wanted to try it. So I asked the patient, can I record you? He said, yes. So look at this, just follow this tracing in here, the interincisal point in the 3 plane of space. Look at this. So I asked the patient, now he is on his teeth. I asked him to do right, left lateral protrusion several times, okay? You can see it's flat. This is his movements and everything. So I just wanted to prove to him that I can design something that is adapted to his movement. In the middle of the recording, I asked him to open. Can you open, please? He opened. I came behind. I put the bite splint inside the mouth, the one we designed adapted to the movement. And then I ask him to close. So can you please close your mouth? Path. This is the space created by the bite splint, okay? And I ask him to redo exactly the same movement. Look at the tracings. Protrusion, right and left. Look at how parallel are the movements. They are the same. So you can use exactly the same concept when you do full arch by keeping the movements of the patient. Functional movements. If he is dysfunctional, I will correct the movement first with the bite splint by adding more guidance, for example, and then redo the Modjaw to be able to do that on a bridge or a full arch. Do you make occlusion correction of splints designed with Modjaw? No. I said no. And then, can you at this position show us the closure and contacts if you gain incisal contact? Which position? The last one or Irina? It is for orthodontic treatment planning. Yeah, I know. When you ask for anterior contact, it's for ortho planning. So you mean the first case, the case, the class 2-2, Irina. The best you decide. The best you decide. I don't understand, but in the previous case, yes. So they comment il s'appelle?
I think it was the one we were closing and opening, to see.
Yeah, it was this one. It was the ortho case. Good. So you are telling me to show you. Can you at this position show us the closure and contact if you gain incisal contacts? Yes, I will show you. So we'll see that the closure contacts will arrive late. Eccentric relation. I'll go back. Where is it? Centric relation. So here I did exactly what I did before. Reproducible. Tag. Find the reproducible. I will crop this movement. Tag. Activate the contacts. Hide the lower jaw. Find my first contact. You can see easy, easy, busy. Tag. Frame by frame. Where is my? It's like this.
I'm sorry, this is probably the best case to show, but what I wanted to see is like VTO, when you, for example, have an open bite and some intercuspidation, some disturbances in the back, for example, and you plan your orthodontic treatment, you want to decide whether to intrude or extrude some parts, and you define like in this best arc of closure. For example, your guide is the incisal contact, yes? And you decide that this is where you want to stay, and then you want to check the contacts where the interruption is. And this is just for treatment planning. It's not for the, maybe for prosthodontists as well. Maybe this case is not the best one because it has very
it's very complicated case. There's a lot of
for this part. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. If I answered the question, that's cool. Where there is an open bite, for example, yes. Yeah, I understand now what you mean. When you have an open bite, yeah, you can, as I said, you can simulate. I could close it to see where the contact is going to be. I know that it's so determined to see where those contacts are going to be. I think if they are in the incisal part, this is the complicated case in ortho. No, you correct me, Irina, if I'm saying mistakes. I think if you have posterior teeth, this is what I learned from Domingo Martin and Alberto Canabes. When you have posterior contacts, you will know what to extrude and intrude. But once you have anterior contacts, this is where things are going to be complicated a little bit. So for diagnosis purpose, this
maybe you can show one example. Maybe it's too late for this, but I was wondering if you can show when on the right side you can see the contacts when they overlap.
Okay. I will go for something simple. Let's go for, I don't want to, I want to have a case where I have teeth. because the most of cases here are pros too, but I want to have a case where we have teeth also. So I can close the arc of closure. So let's say I will start somewhere else. Correct me, Irina, if I'm saying, if I'm doing something not correct, okay? You are the well-placed one. As a specialist on ortho. I'm not specialist, and I'm trying to learn. Tag, some trick, let's try to find, for example, make this. Tag, for example, up contacts. So then if you use, as you said, the arc of closure, you go to rotate around the axis. I confirm, no worries for that. Now you can close till I can activate the contacts to show you where I had
I think it's on the
no, I said initial. Yeah, now it's there. Tech. So my starting position, let's say it was here. Say the first contact. Then when you start closing, you will see, and you overlap, you get the models inside the others. Do you see that? And you can even put the cut view on somewhere on the molar. Check also how much you are going to equilibrate or how much you are going to extrude or to intrude or something like that. Does this answer the question, Irina? How long does the patient examination take usually? So, if you ask me, or Federico, I'll say 9 to 10 minutes. The first patient, no, it's not going to be 9 to 10 minutes. There is a learning curve, and the learning curve, I will explain it to you by patients. If you do 1 patient per week, it will be 1 month and a half. If you do 2 patients per week, it will be 3 weeks. If you do 3 patients per week, it will be 2 weeks. If you do 4 patients per week, it will be 1 week and a half. So this is how I want to explain the learning curve. The most you do, the most you are going to learn quickly. And the first time you do it, it's 25 minutes, and then you can do it later in 10 minutes. For now, I do it in 9 minutes. And this is a record. Federico, I don't know if you do it in 9 minutes yet, or I think 10 minutes for you.
we can play one.
Yeah, so as I said, the first patient can go from 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes, but then once you are outside of the learning curve, it's 10 minutes for the recording.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you, Irina. My pleasure to show you that. Tag. There is an open bite, for example. Okay, I insert this. This also will take treatment. Can this position show us the closure and contacts if you gain incisal contacts? Okay, I showed that. Do you make occlusion correction for splint design with Modjaw? No. This is an easy question. So that's all what I have like a question. I don't know if we still have questions or not. But for me, those are the things that I want to show you today.
Давайте ще тоді 2-3 хвилинки подумайте, зберіться з думками, чи вклалося вам все і чи маєте додаткові запитання. Так, спробуємо тоді ще вияснити. Або відпускаємо і відпочиваємо. 3, 2, 1.
Алло? Ще
Так,
можна
так.
питання задати, чи вже пізно?
Давайте, якраз.
Давайте. Тільки я на українську.
Hi.
Що дозволь?
Good morning.
Доброго. В мене питання на рахунок того, все-таки до якої площини розраховуються показники, які ми отримуємо кутів. Тому що який артикулятор ми налаштовуємо по тим даним, які нам видає Modjaw. Наприклад, ті градуси Банета чи там SCI, до якої площини прив'язуємося взагалі, тому що це незрозуміло. Тобто ми в гірбах працюємо, чи ми, наприклад, не хочемо працювати в гірбах, ми хочемо працювати в іншій системі артикуляторів. Як взагалі працювати з цими цифрами? І ось це в цьому питання велике. Це наступне.
До якої площини? Аксіорбітальна?
Тобто до якої площини ми прив'язуємося? Це аксіорбітальна, це Франкфурт чи Кампер? До чого ми маємо прив'язуватись, коли ми бачимо ці цифри?
Якщо звук пропав.
Мене було чути чи ні?
Так, я чую, а чи Кирило, ви почули питання, зможете перекласти?
Regarding
Yes.
to which plan the software works, axio-orbital plan. And you have also Kemper plan also. So those are the two plans generated. So the models are placed according to the axio-orbital plan, but you can generate also a Kemper plan if you want to use an articulator with Kemper plan references. So I will just show you this just quickly. For this case, for example, cancel, tag, plans. So what you've seen here, this is the axio-orbital plan. So you have the bicondyle axis sagittal plan and axio-orbital plan. And then the Kemper plan, you can generate it by here. So all those information can be exported to be taken to the lab and then to put the models inside the virtual articulator in the correct position according to the axio-orbital plan. If that answers the question. No? Answers the question or no?
Як Моджо знаходить аксіорбітальну, шарнірну вісь? От як ми знаходимо шарнірну вісь в Моджо?
Коректно.
Якщо ми порівнюємо, наприклад, з кадіаксом, з гамою, то в чому різниця? Наскільки, наприклад, це точно? Якщо ми говоримо про гаму, там...
How does the software determine the condylar axis? This is a good question. Okay, I will share my screen. So, do you remember the video that I showed you when you do the recording? You have the stylus to do what we call an arbitrary picking of the condyles, left condyle, right condyle. This is arbitrary, okay? And then starting from there, once you record the small amplitude of opening, so just let me show you on, let's go for this case, for example. Oh no, I will go for this one to show it. This one. Thank you for the translation. So now I understand, Federico, the translation is happening on the discussion, okay?
Got it.
So we wait, and then we have the question in the
Let's see, written
in the discussion. Yes. So so do you see? Let me just do this. Tag. So do you remember the recording? On this patient, I did it for purpose. And look at the bicondyle. This is the bicondyle axis, okay? And this is the one that was given by the picking. I did the picking so far in arbitrary, okay? I did it so far from the position I selected normally. And you can see, according to that, it's not exactly in the correct position. But then, once you record the center collation, just like you go like this to record the small amplitude of opening, I think I'll go this. Already tag. Once you record the small amplitude of opening or the CR position of the patient, just let me show it to you here. That's cool. I will just do that. And then look at the axis. You know, if I take off the axis, you will see that the rotation is not happening here, but it's somewhere else. This is where Modjaw, by clicking on hinge axis, do you see hinge axis? I will click here, hinge axis. He will go to the center of rotation. Look at the condyle now. It's moved to the correct position by just recording a small rotation, a small amplitude of opening, and it takes everything to the correct position. This is the axis of rotation. So now I can show you, this is the arbitrary, this is the hinge axis, or the axis of rotation, the bicondyle axis, or wherever you want to call it. So then, This is the information that you can get. And this is the axis that goes in the middle of the boxes. The condylar boxes inside the articular.
Будь ласка, як на їхню думку, коректно визначити аксис? Ну, тобто, точку поставити, то, що вони кажуть, да?
Так воно автоматично переходить. Тобто ти
Ні, так воно пересчитує, а саме коли знаходить, пересчитується, це максимально повторяє.
Да, ти знаходиш на цьому графіку ротацію.
Ні, то я розумію. Я просто скажу. Як вони знаходять аксис? Да? Тобто виставляють, коли вони записують, перед тим, як записати рухи, медіальний полюс знаходить, чи як? Ну, куди вони все-таки орієнтуються? На медіальний полюс і на тактильні відчуття?
Okay, new message, 2 new messages. What is the best way to place the beginning point of the axis at start of the diagnosis? Okay. Can we choose point of the condylar axis by self, not automatically with software? Yes, of course. Yeah. So I will just share the screen on the first presentation. I will go to here, I'll close this. I will go maybe on this patient from the beginning because this is what I put everything. I just want to show you before all of that, the like the software. This is all the recordings. Okay. Tag. Yeah. So here, let me just go show you. This is the step where you are going to place the condyle. Do you see the stylus? And the way we place the condyle, the way that we train users is to use what we call the external lateral pole of the condyle, which means that you put your finger in front of the tragus, you open, and then you put the stylus there. If you have a way to place it clinically, you just use the stylus wherever you want clinically, here, and then the software will confirm this point. Stylus here. And then the same thing until scissor point, and then we go to the left condyle, and then we select points inside the mouth of the patient. So to answer the question, yes. What is the best way to place the beginning point? So as I said, the best way is to use this, to put your finger in front of the tragus, you open, and in the concavity that you form when you open maximum, in the center of the concavity, you place a point which is in the area of 5 millimeters around the hinge axis. The axis of rotation of condyles, there is no anatomical positioning. There is cinematic positioning for it. So which means that first you select anatomically, and then if you want to correct it according to a movement, you will correct it according to the movement. Can we choose a point of condylar axis by self, not automatically with software? Yes. I mean the orbital plan, the initial one. Okay, so for the orbital plan, the one that we determine inside Modjaw is given by information according to the tiara. I will not recommend to choose the orbital point using the stylus, because according to an intern studies that I did with the team here in Lyon, we find more discrepancy when you choose it manually and then when you keep the software do it automatically. You have more errors when you do it manually because there is a lot of operator dependent. So the software is choosing it according to the tiara, and it's always the same information, and it exists in the literature. So this is why you keep it to the software to do it for the orbital one and not to do it manually. You can do it. You will see that you have 2 axes inside the software, but for preference, you keep the software to do it to avoid all discrepancies. We'll wait.
Будь ласка, ще час на питання є чи ні? Можна ще задавати питання?
Do we have a time for question? A few more?
A few more. Okay, so
One more?
one more or 2. Let's go for 2, if it's possible. Okay.
В мене питання я швиденько постараюсь. Якщо ми говоримо, наприклад, про пацієнтів, яких треба перепротезовувати, і фронтальна ділянка зубів була спротезована. Тобто там треки вже не ті, які ми хотіли бачити. Наприклад, коли загнаний пацієнт у 2-2, захилені різці назад, товсті коронки, то і нам потрібно записати рухи і використати Modjaw як артикулятор. Вони будуть записувати треки по зубам, чи вони будуть записувати треки вільні, тобто вільні рухи нижньої щелепи. Чи вони будуть використовувати депрограматор. Наприклад, я думаю, хватить.
Да.
I have very good pen, Federico.
Типу, так, якщо
Да.
коротко, в цілому.
Waiting for translation.
It's coming.
You know, when you see WhatsApp taping, it's coming.
It's typing.
Okay, it's here. Так, in case of 2.2 PAT with a compromised frontal teeth, in case of class 2.2, you mean, patients with a compromised frontal teeth, will you register the data using the existing incisors or with a frontal jig deprogram? This is so cool. I can stay here till midnight. So, this is a good question because for class 2.2, it's so complicated to answer. You know, the only thing that I can tell you that when you register with the deprogrammer in a class 2.2, the problem is when you use a deprogrammer for a class 2.2, the mandibular position is so big, especially posteriorly. You know, you have a big overjet. When you put the programmer here, you can open for 1 millimeter, but posteriorly, you will have a lot of space because of this class 2.2. So using a frontal jig or deprogrammer, yes, it can work. But for the cases that Maxims has at the clinic, we try to use the guidance. You can use whatever you want as a concept, okay? But as I said, when you use a deprogrammer, the option that you are going to use is OVD shift and then close according to axis. Because if you have a lot of distance, you don't know where, are you going to put a bite splint or something else? So you can use frontal jig, you can use deprogrammer, you can use beam manipulation. But as I said, for deprogrammer and frontal jig, it will give you a lot of space posteriorly, but with Modjaw, you can close like according to the axis to, it's just like when you grind on the deprogrammer and close more, grind, close more, grind, close more. So this is my answer. Angle 2.2. Yes, you can use frontal jig, you can use deprogrammer, you can use beam manipulation. And no problem.
Не поняв питання.
What I don't like in class 2.2 is sometimes that the lower jaw is going.
Мене цікавить різцеве і кликове ведення. Як він записуватиме різцеве і кликове ведення? Не статику, там ЦС.
The static, I use the initial. I use the existing incisors when I scan the bite. Because when you put the jig, I want to see it in dynamic. I put the jig during the Modjaw, but not with the scanner. I scan upper lower with the existing incisors without nothing inside the mouth. And then I put the jig when I record the Modjaw. Patients, that's always guidance in a case like this. Regarding the canine and incisal guidance. So, I don't know if we talk about static or dynamic. So if we talk about dynamic, which means like incisor guidance and canine guidance, no, you are not going to keep the same. It's just like you need to recreate guidance because when you do ortho, you are going to bring the incisors anteriorly because the guidance in those cases is excessive, which means like the patients are going to open first and then go into protrusion. It's not a normal protrusion. So when you do the ortho, you need to correct first, which means that you go through an articulator respecting the condylar slopes and Binet angles, but you will recreate a new guidance by positioning the teeth in more vestibular position. But you're not going to keep the same guidance, okay? Not the same guidance for class 2-2. Because class 2-2 is so vertical, but sometimes in protrusion they open and they go anteriorly. So thank you for presentation. You're welcome. My pleasure.
Ну, ладно, будемо розбиратися самі тоді. Поки що не зрозуміло. Добре, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. My pleasure. It was a real pleasure. And it's not, I think, the last time we discuss. So if you want to set up more meetings like this for more questions, I will be more than happy to do that. So Irina, I will let you just let me know about the next steps and let's discuss.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for this our meeting and everybody for first of all for questions. It's a big treasure and it's pleasant to receive questions. It means that it's interesting for you.
Exactly.
So,
And all the questions were interesting. And we can spend hours to discuss about the questions, but yeah, next time.
till midnight.
Okay, that was a real pleasure. Thank you very much for everyone. I didn't see everyone, but for all who didn't activate the cameras, thank you. That was a real pleasure and looking forward to see you all soon. So Irina, Irina, you asked the question about the ortho case. Hi. So now we can have faces. That's cool. That's cool. If everyone can show his face, that's perfect. So thank you very much and take care of yourself and let's keep in touch, Irina, for the next steps. Goodbye.
Thank you, bye.
Ночі,
Thank you
так.
very much. Thank
До
you.
Bye, bye.
зустрічі.
Ciao, ciao.